Let me be straight and honest with you. The first thing that would come to mind when I would hear about the province of Mindanao is the Ampatuan massacre, graft cases, and malversation charges. But this video is not about that. How do we take a whole province and scrutinize it based on a minority of insurgent fighters? But this province in Mindanao is full of life and inhabited by a culturally rich and important people that complete the patchwork of the Philippines, one that needs to be sewn together. Yes, vigilance is still warranted, but that doesn't mean that it should shadow our curiosity to learn and interact with this part of our nation. This video is about a small taste of the beauty that can be found all around Mindanao.
Welcome to the beautiful Cotabato city. This is my first time here. I didn't even know this place was here, which is incredible for me. And it's so beautiful. I'm actually here for a food festival that's happening tomorrow. But before that, I really wanted to discover the beautiful people and beautiful flavors of the region and just meet lots of different folks that are very proud of their food. And hopefully, we get to have some good bites.
Before the Spanish and the Americans, there were the Chinese, Muslims, Persians, and Arab traders. With them came religion, culture, structure of government, and food. This part of the country gave the Spanish a hard time in the 16th century, managing to preserve until this day a strong identity, which sets it apart from the rest of the country. Today, both Muslims and non-Muslims in these areas take pride in the variety of dishes that history has molded.
We're here in Barangay Tamuntakan to look and catch the mudfish. This is an integral part, obviously, of the dish that we're featuring today, which is the tinapayan. And Dad's been there for a while trying to catch a fish. So finally, I think he has one. I don't know if you've ever seen a mudfish, but it's probably not the prettiest thing, but it tastes really good. And so there are multiple ways of catching it. You can either do it with a net. Some people do it with traps where they kind of dig holes in these kinds of areas, either rice paddies or marshes or lakes, and then they burrow, and then the mudfish just naturally congregate towards these areas. But here they also do it with a rod, which is a much more traditional way of doing it. Let's check if he has something. All right, so this is that. So he has a fish. This is the mudfish that we've been looking at. I've seen mudfish before that are much bigger than this. This is kind of like a small size mudfish, which is exactly what they need for this kind of dish. So basically, we're gonna wait till we catch a couple, and then we're gonna move on to the kitchen where we're gonna be able to see exactly how they use this fish. But before that, I feel like we met a beautiful grandmother. They call her Mama Ping, and she's gonna show us how to make tapay, which is like a fermented rice dish, which is, again, an integral part of this dish, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Like, there's so many processes that go to preparing this, and nothing goes to waste. So she's gonna show us how to do that quickly, then we're gonna move on to a kitchen.
At almost every stall in the markets around Cotabato City, tinapayan is sold. It's also the one dish people kept telling me that was special to them, so I just had to learn more about it. Mudfish is a carnivorous fish that usually emerges during the rainy seasons and survives on insects, frogs, and snails. Once the fish captured, we headed to a nearby hut where Babi Ping would show us how to make one of the most popular dishes in these areas that plays an essential role in making tinapayan. Tapay, a traditional fermented rice found in many Southeast Asian cultures. Cooked rice is mixed with a little sugar and an active yeast powder, wrapped in alum leaves and left to ferment overnight.
Para sa kanin mang pag kami sa tapay, pag kami sa umay, kapadaguan sa aluan, pang sa aluan.
To show me how the rest of the dish comes together, Babi Ping brought me to her and her daughter's restaurant in the middle of town.
So this here is the reason why we're here. This is the beautifully smelling tinapayan. What I love about this dish, it represents everything I believe in terms of sustainable cooking, using absolutely everything that's at your disposal, and trying to use whole ingredients as much as possible. It's one of those recipes that probably younger generations won't make as much because it just takes so much love and time to actually create. We had the fish a while ago. We were shown how to make the tapay. So the tapay, what happened is, after they were filled in these little purses, were left for 24 hours overnight. So that's 1 day. I'm gonna try the tapay alone. It has a sweet, kind of soury finish, which is actually really quite nice. And I can totally get behind this because it's something that's really filling and it just has a really interesting flavor. And I'm a huge sucker for anything fermented. Okay, let's make the tinapayan.
Unlike its Luzon counterpart, which benefits slightly from more famed burong isda, tinapayan develops a distinct meaty flavor due to the fact that the fish is first dried. It is then smothered with our tasty tapay, water, ginger, garlic, lemongrass, and sometimes some onions. It's then left to rest covered for a week. The result is a fungal and lactic acid bacterial fermented dried fish, a process we've inherited centuries before electricity was around. In this form, it can be kept up to a month. The flakes are then placed in some coconut oil, flaked and cooked with a little sugar until almost
Kung
caramelized.
ganito na siya, marami na siyang bulag-bulag, Dok, pwedeng, ibig sabihin malapit na talaga maluto.
It's close. Malapit na.
Ay, malapit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good job.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
1 to 10, pila sa kanin. 10 yung pinakamapo, 1 yung pinakamababa. List ko rin.
1.
1.
Hindi, 10
Thank you. Okay, I quit. I'm done.
Oh,
10. Yes.
11 pa.
There you go. When you smell it, it's actually really weird because you do smell almost a lot of like umami caramelized flavors, and when we put it in the pot, as you saw, it basically was just the fermented fish that was covered with the tapay and then broken up in a large quantity of oil until it kind of just became nice and brown and crispy. And you smell it, and it almost smells like soy and a sugar mix, which is insane. And I'm really excited to try it. So we're gonna mix this with a little bit of rice. It's really good. It's almost like adobo flakes, but with fish. It's really tasty. You can still, taste the importance of the tapay in there. Like the sourness is still there, but it's not as funky as it was a while ago. And obviously the oil just kind of helps bind everything together. But it tastes fantastic. Like it has so many kind of flavors and it's just so delicate. So I can definitely understand why this is a delicacy. I can't wait to see what else the region can produce in terms of food. What we've eaten so far has been fantastic, and this really just tops the charts for now. Every city we've been to in the Philippines has this area where you can kind of congregate and a lot of people come into, and regardless of how many people you ask in terms of recommendations where to go, they will always recommend certain places that are very kind of like emotionally tied to how they feel about their city and then the food that they eat, and this just so happens to be it. It's a string of different barbecue restaurants that are set up. You would think that barbecue isn't necessarily something special, but apparently the native chicken here tastes very different from other places, so we're about to give it a try. It actually does look very beautiful. And these are the places I like to come to because they're very kind of like humble, and you know people in the city come here, which I really greatly appreciate that. Okay, it's good. Very good. Very tasty. This is the famous white sauce. And we asked what it was, and she said it was Sprite, vinegar, garlic, coconut oil, coconut milk, some sugar, and calamansi, I think, which is a very odd combination. What I love about native chicken, it's its texture. And the flavor is always going to be much better. The sauce is good. The sauce is really good. Chicken's really great, but the sauce, come here for the sauce. Sprite and coconut milk, who thought? Okay, so we're with Babu Asha, and we're gonna make a local dessert or sweet called pinipit, which is a combination of white glutinous rice and then some black rice that's mixed in with some water. And then this is pounded through a grinder machine to then form a paste. But obviously before that happens, it kind of stays together for 1 hour, mostly just to kind of develop this rich color that it has. So once it's been grinded into paste, this is what we get here, right? And then you're gonna form that into the shape. Twist it. This. Nope. I think you're better. She's better than me, for sure.
Just a while ago, we cooked pilipit. And then this one is tinagtag. Okay, this one is panganan sising.
Okay.
This one is tipas, bulwa, and dudol. Okay. So, usually, Maguindanaon delicacies are served during kanduli or every time there's a celebration in a family. So, this is the first that they serve to their guests, just to make sure that the guests aren't going to be that hungry when the main course comes. Okay.
Got it. So it's like a sign of welcome.
Yes.
Okay.
So, a lot of these delicacies are actually rice-based. For example, this one is dudol. It's made of rice flour, cocoa milk, and sugar. Those are the basic ingredients of what a dudol is.
So let's give it a try.
It's very popular among kids.
It's good. Like it. One, I love anything that's glutinous rice based,
Okay.
and I love black rice. That's delicious. And then this is the dudol, right? It looks intense.
And similar also to what Bohol has. The
Yeah.
minatamis, their
Yeah.
minatamis.
I like that a lot. Okay, I'm gonna try everything. I feel like I'm gonna have the biggest sugar rush after this. It's like super intense. This is really intriguing though. I mean, it's rice flour, but it has kind of like a texture of an actual pastry or muffin or cake or something. So, like, it seems simple to do, but me, someone who's absolutely terrible at baking, I know using rice flour to have that effect is kind of tough. So these are like sugar chips, basically.
Yes. Biscuits.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's very different. That's a very strange taste. Not strange in a bad way, but I mean, like, it's a very different
Sometimes
flavor. And this one, I had a little bit late a while ago. I know you're not supposed to crack it like that.
It's also called tinagtag because basically when you cook, you like tagtag.
Tagtag.
You have to make tagtag na coconut siya so that the flour.
This is good because it's not too sweet.
Yes.
Like, out of all of them, it's the least sweet out of them. What I love about this is the dexterity that it would take to make this. But I have to say, my two favorites are these two.
Dudol and pilipit.
Yeah. The dudol for me is really tasty.
After a full day of meeting literally hundreds of people, I felt like I had only scratched the surface of what the city has to offer. I almost instinctively became anxious knowing that I just didn't have enough time. All I can do is make the effort, as we should all, to learn as much as I can from the people I met and from what resources I can find. Even if it's from a distance, our initiative is sure to be appreciated and welcomed with hospitable delight. In the next video in Maguindanao, get ready for a feast of senses as I introduce you to the various provinces of the